Look, I'm gonna be brutally honest with you guys. I don't have a fun intro for this episode. Welcome to HowDoWeHuman. This is the podcast where we talk about all the weird and uncomfortable micro moments in life. I'm one of your hosts, Chris Binning.
I'm one of your hosts, Evan Cox.
And today we're gonna be talking about brutal honesty. Being brutally honest. Being so honest it hurts somebody and makes everyone around them wince in pain. But first, let's throw it over to Evan Cox to find out how you doing.
The weather is fine. I'm the weatherman today. And that was me being brutally honest about the weather.
Yeah, that's so brutal that you said the weather is fine. Oh, devastating news.
It's never what you want to hear. Yeah, I'm doing okay. The weather's fine. Actually, so here's what happened. I had a few stories. I'm in one of those situations where I'm like, I don't really have a good one today, but I have three okay ones. And one of them did have to do with the weather. Would you believe it?
No.
Just yesterday, I'm going to the post office to pick up a box. In that box, a snorkel, a little 1/8-inch jack, and beard oil. This is important for you to know for no reason at all. Just thought you'd like to know what I'm up to.
Yeah, no, this is a classic Evan story where you throw in some details just to distract me from the scent of where the story could be going.
Yeah, because I don't think my story is going to be a full 20 minutes like normal. So I gotta pad it out.
We gotta make sure we get there somehow.
We gotta. So I go to the post office, and it is gray out. It's a little gray today, also, but the weather had been saying like, I mean, what day is it now? They don't need to know. It's whatever day. It's Monday. That's the day this comes out. A couple days ago, though, it was in the mid-80s up here, sun, and the weather forecast was just like, it's going to be fucking hot this whole week. And then all of a sudden, it's just like the middle of the day, and it's gray, and fog is rolling in. I'm like, I don't know about that forecast, man. But I go and get my box, and there's this older gentleman talking to the post office worker. We have a tiny post office, so there's only two people that work at the post office. And at this point, I know them both. And I think everyone in town does, because you got to talk to them every time you pick up a package. They're very nice. And so they're in a very friendly conversation. And he's talking, the older guy's just like talking about the weather. And the way our post office works, you get a little slip in I have a P.O. box. So you get a little slip in the P.O. box, you take it to the front, and if the package is too big to fit in your box. And so I give him the slip, and he's like, oh, let me grab that for you. And the old man turns to me and says, let's see what this guy knows about the weather.
Ooh, okay.
Okay.
Test time. Pop quiz hot shot.
Based on him saying that, I'm like, my alarms go off. 1, that's not a normal thing to say. B, he must be a jokester.
Now, I might be misremembering. After all, there are several details that may have distracted me during this story.
Yes.
But did you just go 1, that's not a normal thing to say, and B, whatever the second thing is?
God, I hope so. Now
you may not have, and that's just what I heard, but
it'll give me something exciting to look for as I'm editing. I probably did say 1 and then B, but I came to the internal conclusion: this guy's a jokester. He's like fucking around. He's like, hey, see what this guy knows about the weather. What's going on? And I was just like, Man, I don't know. It was supposed to be like I'm just doing my best. Small talk. It was supposed to be sunny, but it looks
But
gray
I
as
don't
hell
see
out
the
there.
sun out there.
And then got nothing. Like stone face looking at me. I'm like, and the fog's rolling in again, so that's great because every time the fog comes in, it's impossible to drive down the mountain. I'm like, any small talk to just get this man to stop staring at me. I don't know what he wanted from me. I'm now starting to wonder if he genuinely was asking, like, do you know a lot about the weather? Can you tell us what's happening right now? But he was not in a jovial mood. And it sucked. And then I got my package and I left. I don't know that he ever said anything to me again. He said, "Let's see what this guy knows about the weather." I told him what I knew about the weather, and he just stared at me. That's the whole story. I just fucking
bizarre.
hated it.
Yeah.
So I'm not a weatherman. I may not know the weather. I was going to say, but one thing I do know, one thing I don't know, but one thing I would. Okay, let's run this
So
back.
let's take it back. Let's try this again.
I would like to have known more about the weather, just like I would like to know more about how you are doing, Chris. Sorry to point a gun at you. Finger gun, just a finger gun.
I don't know. It could still get me over our recording virtual screens.
It's possible.
I'm still scared.
Yeah.
I'm doing okay. I mentioned to you last week off the pod that I was having some car troubles.
Yes, that is, we were talking beforehand, and I was really trying to remember something, and I was going to ask you about that, so I'm glad it came up.
Well, yeah, luckily it came up organically here on the pod.
Organically as we record an episode of a podcast.
I was having an issue where the RPM gauge and the air conditioning would go out at the same time while I was driving. Tried to take it into one place. They said, "Oh, that sounds like an electrical issue. You got to take it to another. You can't just take it here to this mechanic. You got to take it to
A specialist.
an electrical shop."
Oy, oy, oy.
I find it a shop that has electrical in the name.
Great.
I take it to this place. They go, "Oh, we don't do that here." And then to their credit, they ask a little bit more. And as I'm describing it a little bit more, they're like, "Oh, you know what? Actually, I think I know what that could be. We will do that, but we won't be able to do it for another couple days. So bring it back in a couple days." I bring it back in a couple days. And they said, bring it in a couple days so we can do a diagnostics check so that we can make sure that that's what it is before we try to replace anything. So I go in, bring it in. They don't have a waiting area. So they're like,
that's
"Hey,
heartbreaking.
We'll see you in 2 to 3 hours." It's like, well,
do what you want.
I find a grocery store nearby. I wander over there, grab a water, a little snack, and they have little tables outside. And so I just sit there at a table for 2 to 3 hours, just waiting to hear what the results of this diagnostics test are. And I haven't ever really sat outside a grocery store for hours before.
That's a weird, like, a large part of my past as a teenager. I spent a lot of time hanging outside of grocery stores.
Well, then maybe you're familiar with the types of people who might also be outside of a grocery store for hours.
Do they tell long-winded stories that don't go anywhere?
There's one guy who comes and sits down at one of the other tables. And then a little bit later, another guy comes over, sits at another table.
Okay.
And this guy compliments the other guy is like, "Oh, I like your shirt." The guy's like, "Oh, thanks." He said, "Oh, did you just come from like a run?" And the guy was like, "No." Um, and the guy was this inquisitive person is like, "Oh, well, you just seem like you have active clothes on, so I didn't know if you were coming from a run." And he was like, "No, I'm running an errand for somebody."
Hey,
This
it's a run of
guy,
some sort.
this guy is asking. He's like, "Oh, who you running an errand for? Like
Oh no.
your brother, your best friend, your wife?" Like, and the guy goes, "Oh, have a good day," and stands up and storms off. And the guy asking the question is like, "Oh, sorry." And the guy, as he's storming off, is like, "It's fine. Just maybe don't make your question so personal." and then and then leaves. Luckily, yeah. Go ahead.
No, you continue.
Well, that's
part one.
There are two. That was part one. So this is a good jumping off point if you have things to say.
I'm not jumping off except to say, unfortunately, I get that guy. I get the angry guy.
I get it
scenario.
A little bit too. Yeah.
I'm like, listen, that guy was asking some weird probing questions.
Yes.
And I kind of want to be left alone right now.
Yes.
It was a big reaction.
It was a big reaction. I
could
understand internally kind of where that other guy is, but I don't know that I could have brought myself to have that external of a reaction. But luckily, that guy doesn't ever ask me any questions. He eventually gets up and leaves. As part two of the story, as and I don't know the correct terminology anymore. I know for a while it felt like we were using unhoused individual.
Yeah.
But I haven't heard that much lately, so I don't know if that's changed.
I believe it's changed to street bitches.
So this street bitch comes up to me, and
last I heard, was still saying unhoused. I'm just making myself laugh.
This guy comes up to me. He's got a shopping cart full of whatever he's collected over his his time, and he comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, can you watch my stuff? I'm gonna go in and use the restroom." And I say, yeah, sure. But he goes in, I am a little uncomfortable because the two types of people that I would think would move this unhoused person's shopping cart are other unhoused people.
Yeah.
Or police.
Sure.
And neither one of them are people I want to jump to the defense of these belongings for. But luckily I don't have to. That's not where this story goes.
Okay.
As I'm on my phone, I'm keeping an eye on his cart, and I'm worried that the mechanic's going to call me back and be like, "Hey, you got to come over here right now." I'm like, "No, sir, I'm watching a street bitch's shopping cart." But what ends up happening instead is this guy finishes using the restroom. I'm at the back table on the little patio outside but I hear two people arguing.
Yeah.
And one of them is the guy that I've decided to help out and watch his stuff.
No.
And he's shouting at a person who I cannot see from my vantage point. But he's shouting at this unseen person, telling him that he's gonna F him up. He'll, let's go, let's fight right here. And starts calling him the N-word and other a lot of big reactions outside this Vaughn's. But
okay.
starts using the N-word a bunch and is like, oh, that's what I thought. You walk away. Yeah, because, I'll mess you up, whatever. And now I know what's coming next. And I'm like, no, 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 no. And he turns to me and says, hey, thanks, man. No, I'm not part of this. Pretend I didn't watch your stuff. I'm not a part of this. But that was my awkward
that's amazing
moment. I tried to help somebody out, and instead I feel like I was an accomplice to an unsavory interaction, to put it mildly.
Yeah, that's amazing. I don't know. I hate that. I hate all these situations. Auto places that don't have waiting rooms that are just like, it's going to be 5 hours.
Well, the other thing is, like, I kind of feel like they did have a waiting area. It's just like, it's such a small room, and they've got like their main desk.
So you're right there.
And so you're right there. But they have chairs right there. They just, they don't want me to hang out in there, like right in front of them for 3 hours.
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily want that either. Like a chair.
So don't put the chairs there.
I agreed.
Yeah.
I had to get a, what do you call it? Smog check done on my car recently, and it was like only one place on the mountain that does it. And I went there, and they just had, it was a quick process, so it's different, but they just had chairs outside. Like, yeah, just do that. That's fine.
Yeah.
If it's a shitty day, I won't sit out there, but like, it was a nice day. Like, yeah, I can just sit outside, listen to music, look on my phone. Yeah. I'm cool.
Yeah.
Don't make me go to Volans. But the having to watch someone else, a stranger's things, especially when it's like a laptop or something like that. I'm just like,
right.
Why do you trust me? You can.
Yeah.
You're not wrong to. I don't know.
Yeah.
That would make me uncomfortable.
Yeah, I did not like it, but I didn't want to be brutally honest with him and say, absolutely not, I'm uncomfortable.
Absolutely not, I need an adult.
Yeah, isn't there an adult you can ask? I'm only 32.
That's a funny response. Oh, I need an adult. Brutal
Evan,
honesty.
have you ever been brutally honest?
I question that. Probably, yeah. But not often. And I was looking into this because there's different types of brutal honesty, and I think there is positive brutal honesty. But I also think there are just a lot of people that are assholes. That are just like...
Yes, it's a thin line.
The brutal is the part I like.
Yeah, exactly.
I am also being honest, but I don't have to be. I can just be a dick. That would also satisfy my needs. But aren't you happy that I'm being honest? You look like shit. You've let yourself go. Maybe go to the gym. I don't know. I haven't found a nice middle ground. I have met people, and I think it kind of comes from maybe how your parents talked to you. So some sympathy there.
Nature versus nurture.
Nature v. nurture. I don't know. My parents, I don't think were brutally honest
nurture,
with us.
Whoever wins, we lose. Is that a t-shirt?
Yes. That's a good one. I like it. Write it down. Nature versus nurture. Whoever wins, we lose. We've had a lot of these t-shirt ideas that we have to question, like, is there copyright infringement involved in that? Technically, that is a movie tagline.
Maybe.
Yeah, probably is, but it's funny. But yeah, no, I've known people who the big thing. Well, I wrote this down in my notes. which is a good example of what people are looking for in a positive way. But just broadly, I'm calling it the spinach and teeth conundrum of just like people do want to know. People want to know when they have spinach in their teeth. People want to know when they
Sure.
dripped a little bit of mustard on their shirt and they're about to go do something. People don't want to know, but they need to know. Like, hey, do you have any deodorant? Or hey, did you brush your teeth today? These are uncomfortable things to tell somebody, but it's appreciated brutal honesty to just be like, listen, you're my friend and you're about to go to a meeting or something. You smell like shit right now. Like, it is good if you could say it in a friendly way. I don't think that's most people's intentions, but I've known people who are very good at that and could do that without thinking. And I'm like, anytime I've been in a situation, and I am mostly thinking spinach and teeth, I try to get better at it. It's hard. It's really hard for me to just feel like there's something wrong with you. Yourself.
Yeah. I think I can agree with that. I mean, some of the, the spinach and teeth stuff,
Mm-hmm.
I can do most of that. But you are right. There are some that are more like you don't know how somebody's going to take it.
Yeah.
Even though what you're saying is like I don't know. It's tough because like in some scenarios, like, hey, it might be too late to
Sure.
fix whatever this problem is. So do I even bring it up? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. I think that I struggle with it a little bit as well. And depending on what it is, I feel like I can get to that big outside of Vaughn's reaction of like, now I'm just being a dick because
Yeah.
I missed my window to just be like brutally honest in an acceptable way.
Point.
And now I'm just an asshole.
There is a time window, and I will find myself on that. And again, this is a totally hypothetical situation, but in that world where it's like I'm having lunch with someone, they got a bunch of shit in their teeth from their lunch, and then they go back to work, and I won't say anything. Again, hypothetical. But then I'll see them like after work and be like, by the way, I don't know if you know, you got a bunch of poppy seeds in your teeth or whatever. It's like, yeah, no, now that's dickish. Like, did you notice before I went and saw all those other people? Yeah. I was scared. I have a very specific type of brutal honesty that I experienced recently. I mean, I got, I wrote it in my notes. I set it up like this, and now that I think about it, I'm like, is that is that brutal honesty? This specific example might not be considered brutal honesty, but I think it does lay out what I'm trying to get across. There's a new type of brutal honesty. The other day, I think yesterday, maybe 2 days ago, it's important. I was walking my dog. And you've been to my place. I've got a steep driveway. And then that walk is like, it's tight until you reach a certain point. And then you've got room to walk. There's not a sidewalk, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You're relatively close to the road for those first 10 or 15 seconds of the walk. But it's like, what am I going to do? Like, I got to walk my dog, and this is where I'm at. So I'm walking here. And so it's just 7 cars, like all at once. I try to look for breaks in cars to do that little part of the walk. And there was a break, and then all of a sudden I'm halfway through it, and 7 cars are just all going by, and they're all way overreacting to where I'm at and going like driving into the middle of the road. And I had my headphones in, so I can't specifically say what this guy said, but I heard one word, and the context I'm putting together, someone opened their window, opened it, rolled it, whatever, and yelled at me like, "You can't walk there," something like that. I was like, "Hey, yeah, I can. I can walk wherever the fuck I want. I live here. Where do you live?" The connection I'm putting here is, I think, internet anonymity. I connect that has put this sort of fire in people where they look for any situation where it's like, well, I'm never going to see this fucking person again. I'm driving
Yeah.
fast down this road. We roll down the window and you look like shit. I don't know. But I think internet brutal honesty is like way more common, and people are, I don't know, maybe it is just making people more honest with each other in a negative way. What do you think?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that that's definitely true. I've cut back. There was a period of time where I had really cut back on my social media use, and it was feeling good. But lately, I find myself drifting back towards letting Instagram rot my brain,
Ain't that the truth?
and I don't know quite how to get past that. How to move away from it again, because
It's bad.
it's bad, but I don't want to uninstall it from my phone, because the worst is when like either a coworker or my wife or somebody that I'm in the same room with is like, "Hey, did you see that reel I just sent you?
Yeah.
Why didn't you just show it to me? You're right there."
This is a constant with Jocelyn and I. I have deleted Instagram from my phone. So I'll just, like, on a browser on my phone, look at it maybe once a week.
Yeah.
And it really has helped. I look at it so much less than I used to. But yeah, it's like, did you get that message I just sent you? Like, I don't know, text it to me. I don't know. Like, you're using a system. It's like I didn't have a mailbox, and you're like, I sent you a postcard. And you're like, okay.
Yeah.
What do you want?
But the thing that I've really let myself just like full on brain rot is just going to the Instagram reels and just fucking swiping on
man,
through.
it's terrible.
Swipe, and it's terrible. But there are a couple different algorithms, a couple different spaces are trying to reach me and take over my algorithm, I should say. And one of them, like, there's a constant war in my algorithm between I guess between the two like main political ideologies. Because I think the algorithm gets confused
Yeah.
As to where I lie, since I don't really post anything political. I don't really interact with anything political in terms of commenting or sharing or liking or any of that stuff. So it's only going off of how long I'm sitting on something.
Yeah.
And it might be that I'm watching it for a little while because I'm trying to get the full context. Or it might be that I'm looking at it for a little while because I can't believe the outrageous thing I just heard. And so now it's playing again.
But they want you to be outraged. That's good for them.
But the comment section on a lot of these posts is just people being so awful to each other.
Mm-hmm.
To get out of the political nature of some of that stuff, like on animal care or child care
Yeah.
reels. If you go into any of those, it's people being like, I'm just being brutally honest, but you're like a failure as a parent. I'm being like brutally honest, but your baby's ugly. I'm being brutally honest, but your dog hates you. Like all this like
Yeah.
stuff
And
of
then
just
people will
people
poke
want to be
back at
rude.
that, comment back, and they're just like, whoa, I'm
Whoa,
just,
whoa. I'm the good
saying.
guy here.
Saying what everybody's thinking.
Yeah. I do think that there is, and I don't know if you can exactly tie these things together, but on different reality shows, especially reality dating shows, your
Mm-hmm.
Love is Blind,
Love is
your
Blonde.
Bachelor, as social media has gotten bigger and bigger, and people maybe know that they can at least make a little bit of money off of being on these shows, and therefore tying those two things together much more than in the past. You get a lot of contestants come on who basically say like, no, I just speak my mind, I'm just being
Mm-hmm.
honest, and they're like the worst people you've ever
Yeah.
seen on TV.
Yeah. That's the conundrum.
So to answer your question, yes.
Thank you.
Yes, I do think social media has made it worse.
Yeah, no, that's that makes me think of other more popular podcasts that I'll listen to.
Uh-huh.
Particularly, I love. I like listening to Get Played. It's a gaming podcast, and it's very funny. And I would say their focus number one is to be funny and silly, and focus number two is they're talking about games. Um, the gaming community at large is terrible. It's a bunch of
Yes.
horrible, toxic people, and most of their fans get that they're comedians. But like they've got a Discord. I was in there for half a second because I still really don't understand how Discord works. It scares me. I would love
do
to
not
be.
like Discord.
I
I've
would love to
tried
be
to
in
use
some
it a
of these
couple
Discords.
times and I just don't get it. I
I
don't
don't.
get the appeal. I don't get why so many things are moving
Yeah,
their fan bases onto Discord.
it doesn't work
Platform's a
with my
mess.
brain because
Yeah.
because and this is a sidetrack, but like it is just like a single string. I mean, there are different threads, but every one you
Yeah.
go in, it's just everyone is talking in the same thing. So it's like one roving conversation, but it's delayed like a few minutes. So you'll post a comment, but no one will see it for 5 minutes or something to help regulate the flow of the I don't get it. It doesn't work for me, and I don't fit in there. Anyways, I'm here to say, like, and I'm not the only person saying this, and this is not the only podcast this happens with. It happens on Reddit a lot too, where people are just like, people feel on these podcasts, which I would say are not, it's not the same as like posting in a subreddit your thoughts about Joe Rogan, who's a millionaire and will never see that comment ever.
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
A lot of like they'll talk about it on the show. Like a lot of these people at the more UCB level, your comedy bang bangs and stuff like that, they're online. They'll check comments. Former guest Will Hines. There was a lot of shit going. There was someone making a specific post that was just like, I just got to get this off my chest. I do not think he's funny at all. I can't understand why they keep having him on the show. He's so cringy or whatever. Just like, and Will's on Reddit. I believe he responded to it. Whenever you see people posting shit like this, the majority of people do hop in and be like, you're just, why? Why do you need to express, why is this a thing you have to get off your chest in a public forum where they might get that feedback? Like, and for the
Yeah.
record, Will is very funny.
Will is very funny.
We at HowDoWeHuman do not share that opinion.
There is, unfortunately, I'm of two minds on this.
Uh-oh.
Because, and I guess this isn't, there's a certain comedian that you and I have met before whose career is getting larger.
Yes.
And
our patience for him is getting smaller.
yeah, that's right. Because he was a rude guy to be around.
We knew him when, and he was a dick.
And so every now and then when something like that happens, I like to kind of go onto either Reddit or just a general internet search and type in somebody's name and bad or sucks or something like that.
A validation search.
Yes, and that's what I mean is like I understand the person wanting some sort of like validation or just to be like, I can't be the only one.
Yeah.
That feels this way. So I can understand that element of it. But yeah, on the other hand, there is a big, before we were recording, we were talking a little bit about Star Wars and those fans. And I don't know, there is like a weird dichotomy, and I don't know how long this has been around. Maybe it's something we have to investigate.
Could be.
But
we might have to
investigate the notion that like corporations have to listen to us, the fans, when they're making movies or TV shows or video games or whatever. It's the same kind of like, I'm mad at this employee, like this government official. I pay your salary or whatever with my taxes, so I can treat you however I want. It's there is like I just don't have that in me to need to do that. When we've talked about this on several episodes, but when I used to review movies and I was always like, I just giving my honest thoughts on the movie, and then people come at you because you shared your honest opinions. Like I don't know, it's all kind of bizarre because everybody's so ready to fight each other all the time. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying at this point.
I get it.
But
you're not wrong. I think the rule is when it's someone that we don't like, that's great. That's fine. Go out there and talk shit about them.
Absolutely.
But no, similarly we maybe talked about this before, but like I've got my YouTube channel. I don't post very often anymore, but during COVID was posting cover songs all the time, and they got not like hugely popular, but like some of them have thousands of views, and that's pretty darn good for me. And so I get comments, and it's like 99.99999% people being like super positive and just like, it's nice. I get that notification. It's someone just being like, wow, you're so good. Oh, what a great take on that. But it's the only ones you remember are the brutally honest ones.
Correct.
And it's not like, it's different if someone popped on there and was just like, this sucks. I was like, all right, man. But I got someone that was just like, honestly, this is a pretty bland cover. Your voice really doesn't do it justice. Just like, bro.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But that's the thing is like certain things like that. It's like, are they being brutally honest or are they or have they crossed that line into just being rude, especially with something like that is subjective?
Yeah, I
I
think
mean,
is that the
the spinach in
threshold?
the teeth thing is like, that's not subjective.
I
You
think
do or do not have spinach in your teeth.
yeah, it is the threshold is like how much does this person need to know this?
Yeah.
You know? And in a shitty place, yes, we can both think this now very successful comedian should really know that we don't like it. But no, it's like, in what world is that good to write to somebody? I don't know. Like, especially as a person that's not like, I'm not hyper invested in YouTube.
Right.
It's just like, I need someone. It's not even giving me tips. That might be not, like, sure. If it was like, honestly, this is kind of a bland take on this song. I prefer cover songs to have a little more like creativity and change, and maybe consider changing the arrangement or something like that. Sure, I'd take that. But just to be like, pretty bland, bro. Why? Why did you need to take the time to write that?
Yeah.
There's nothing to be gained except to make me feel bad.
Yeah. And I think that I think that a lot of people enjoy making other people feel bad. So
I think we've got to the bottom of it.
I think we solved it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of
Is
just
that
people.
what we've learned? Is
I
that
think
people just like to make other people feel bad?
Yeah. Watch the world burn, etc. Yeah. I don't know. I try to be open-hearted about this sort of thing and have sympathy and go like, hey, this person not doing well in their life. Something is going seriously wrong in their life for them to feel the need to lash out at other people to make them feel better. So I guess if that's what you need, go ahead. But I don't like it. I'm never going to like it. But you didn't hurt me. Sticks and stones can break my bones. So please don't get those sticks and stones.
Yeah. Please just leave me alone.
Yeah,
Sticks and stones will break my bones, so please leave me alone.
Sticks and stones will break my bones, so please be careful. Add
that to the shirts.
Add it to the. We are reaching the end here, but I guess I'd say that's the flip side of this whole thing and their argument. First of all, actually, before I get to that, there's an important thing I noticed maybe 20 minutes ago that I haven't had a chance to bring up. This is the second time.
Did I smell bad?
No, I got hiccups. This is the second time this week, and I'm going to say what day of the week it is. It's Wednesday. On Monday, this happened, and today it happened. My shirt is inside out.
Oh. You don't want to change it live on the pod?
I don't want to show my shoulders. My clavicle. I'm gonna end up on Wiki Clavicle. And they'll be like, honestly, not a great clavicle.
Honestly, pretty bland. Doesn't really do the shoulders justice.
The other side of this whole conversation, argument, whatever you want to call it, is on their end, they would look at someone like me and go like, well, you're far too sensitive.
Yes.
And it's like, guess what? I am. They're right. There is a healthy middle ground here. And I can get a somewhat of a thicker skin. But I don't feel like I was built to be shot. So, yeah. I don't know. Careful with those sticks and stones.
Yeah.
Careful with that axe, Eugene.
Yeah. And be careful making sure you remember to
Here it
find us on
goes.
Spotify, on Apple Podcasts.
He's catching his stride.
Amazon Music, Pocket Cast, HowDoWeHuman.com. Anywhere that you get your podcast, you can rate, review, comment, subscribe, do all those wonderful things that help boost us in those algorithms. You can check us out on our social media. Even though we're getting rid of social media on our phones, make sure that you have yours and are exclusively paying attention to How Do We Human on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, or send us an email to howdowehumanpod@gmail.com.
You're going to like the way you look, I guarantee it.
Evan, it's time to take a quiz. You are 4 points ahead of me.
Yeah, I
am. The score is 76-72. And I have a little question before we get started here.
Okay.
How well do you know Popeye the Sailor Man?
A little bit.
Okay, let's see if this helps you.
I learned something about Popeye recently. I hope this is it. Damn it, no.
Popeye the Sailor had 4 identical nephews named Pip-Eye, Poop-Eye, Peep-Eye, and what? Pap-Eye, Pun-Pie, Plop-Eye, or Pup-Eye?
Pip-Eye, Poop. Don't name a kid Poop-Eye.
I know.
Or Peep.
That's a rough hand to be dealt.
Pip-Eye, Poop-Eye, Peep-Eye, and... Man, this is a guess. I do not know this at all.
I'm between 2. There was one, like, just reading it with my eyes that I gravitated towards. Then there's one that when I read it aloud, I was like, actually, maybe that's what it is. So now I'm not sure which way I'm going to go.
I'm going a weird way, but I'm settled.
Okay, I'm going to go... I'll go with my first one. I'm going to say Plop-Eye.
That's what I was going to say.
All right, we're both going Plop-Eye. The answer was Pup-Eye, which was the other one when I read it aloud that felt right.
That was the other one I was thinking of too. That sucks. The 1998 novel As Time Goes By, which follows Rick, Ilsa, and Victor, is a controversial sequel to what film? The Sound of Music, Casablanca, Citizen Kane, or North by Northwest?
I do know this one 100%. I'm sure
I do
you
know
do
this
too.
one 100%. I've never heard of the novel.
Me neither.
I do know the character.
But all the other pieces, including the title, all tie back to one very specific thing. So I'm going with Casablanca.
Yeah.
All right, we both got that correct. Question number 3. Though often associated with the singer, what does the Icelandic name Bjork mean? Brilliant One, Ice Flower, Birch Tree, or Fairy Dust?
Going off of pure instinct here.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go off of vibes on this one.
Going off of vibes. I'm saying Ice Flower.
I'm saying Fairy Dust.
Okay.
It was Birch Tree.
The
one I ruled out immediately.
Before adopting the bald eagle, what messenger of the gods symbolized the U.S. Postal Service? Mercury, Hermes, Apollo, or Vulcan?
Well, this is interesting to me.
I feel like context clues. I think I know this, but...
Well, so I think, and I might be wrong, I think that one of these is the Greek name of this god and one is the Roman name of this god.
Interesting.
And so I don't know if the Postal Service would be more Greek or Roman. I have the answer I'm going to go with, but
damn.
Listen. I could see it going the other way.
Your knowledge is past mine. So I'm just going with what I know. I do not know Greek v. Roman. Whoever wins, we lose.
Add it to the shirts.
I'm going to say Hermes.
That's what I'm saying as well. And they, I guess, went Roman because the answer was Mercury.
Okay. I did not know that.
All right, let's see, Evan. Can either of us walk away with more than 1 point today?
Doubt it.
What is the more well-known name of the island called Rapa Nui? Tahiti, Tasmania, Papua New Guinea, or Easter Island?
Oh, Lord. I'm going to say Easter Island.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say as well. I thought maybe Tahiti for a second, but I think I'm going to go with Easter Island as well. And we both walk away with 2 points.
Yeah.
We did it. That, of course, pushes the score to 78 to 74. Still a 4-point difference.
Wowie, wowie, wow,
But
wow.
we got 2 out of 5. So
2 out of 5 ain't bad.
take that, Department of Education.
Take that, Meatloaf.
Yeah.
Speaking
Okay,
of
bye.
Okay. Bye.